All right. Welcome back to the Palmcast. I'm here with Corey Burton. We're going to talk a little Georgia football today. What we're going to do is until the football season starts, we're going to do previews of every team, and Georgia's up first because they're not on Ole Miss's schedule, and I'm kind of curious to what JT Daniels and Kirby Smart's going to do. I've ridden this Kirby Smart train for over a year, Corey,
Yes.
but
Stay on it. Don't get off.
yeah, yeah. Uh, is this the year that there's going to be a change?
Yes, there's going to be a change. I think that you're finally going to see this Georgia team break through. I know that's a popular sentiment, but I think it's true. I think the receiving corps is as best as it's ever been under Kirby Smart. I think you have a five deep running back core, which is the most depth that he's ever had at that position, quality depth, I should say. Defensively, I think even though they've lost a bunch of secondary people, I think up front this is one of the best teams that he's had, led by Jordan Davis, Adam Anderson, and then you have a whole host of linebackers that are gonna play crucial parts throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, I'm just really looking forward. I know that Kirby is kind of allergic to tempo. I know he's
He
trying to
is.
stick his toe in tempo.
Mm-hmm. It
I
gives him hives,
yeah,
and I think this year he takes the Zyrtec. Uh, this preview brought to you by Zyrtec. No, I think he takes the allergy medicine, and I think he gets more immune to tempo, and I think you'll see a little bit more. I think you probably won't be like 3 plays in 20 seconds type tempo, but you'll see a little bit more than what we have been doing.
yeah. Hopefully he'll be okay with giving up 24 points instead of demanding giving up 10 or 14.
Well, he's going to have to be because
Yeah.
his secondary is young, and they start off the year with Clemson, so there's going to be some points in that game. He's going to have to wrap his head around that, but there's going to be some points in that game.
No, that's maybe an accidental good thing for
Mm-hmm.
Georgia with Clemson. It might get him used to it. If the offense can come out and perform and Georgia can get a win, maybe it's 38-27. Maybe he's like, okay, this
Mm-hmm.
can work. Because this similar type situation happened with LSU. The Joe Brady experience with Joe Burrow and everything, that was kind of an accident. And it kind of
Mm-hmm.
snuck up on people after September.
It did. It really did. And you saw that with LSU at 19. You saw Sarkeesian and Alabama follow suit, and now you're going to probably see Georgia follow suit. Right? They're gonna sling the ball around a little bit. A little bit more. They're not gonna. I mean, they're gonna throw it 50, 60 times a game, but they're going to throw it 35, and they're going to get the backs more involved. I think you're going to see a huge year out of James Cook in more ways than just running the ball. So I'm excited with what this offense has. I think they can hurt you in a lot of different ways, which is something I haven't been able to say in years past, at least since Kirby's been here. We've been a lot more predictable in years past, and in 2017 we were just scary good with what we could do, and we just mash you up front. We're not going to have that ability this year. We lose Ben Cleveland, which is a huge loss, literally and figuratively, in the offensive line. In the run game, you lose your center, which is big, Trey Hill. He's well, actually no. Yes, you do lose your center. You're gonna have a new. Well, yeah, you're gonna have some changes up front for sure. And then you get Jamari Sawyer back, who he was debating on early enrolling, or not early enrolling, but leaving early into the NFL draft. He probably bumps down to guard, which is going to be the fit for him in the NFL. You have superstar Marius Mims, who's probably going to get some playing time this year. He's going to be a rotational guy at the tackle spot. I think you're going to see Broderick Jones as one of your lead tackles. I think you're going to see a lot of shifting in that offensive line. And what Ole Miss fans don't realize, what they had Matt Luke, he's a great developer, right? He's a great in getting those guys to play hard. I don't know that he fit very well in the head coach's seat. I just don't think he was ready for that. I think he will be. I think he'll be a pretty good head coach in his next stint, wherever that is. But he's been tremendous for this Georgia offensive line and developing what they have. The recruiting has not fallen off since Sam Pittman left, which is a good thing. I love Sam Pittman, but the recruiting has not fallen off at that position, and it's been great. There's been some great battles within that offensive line. So I'm excited. I think Kirby finds the answer.
Yeah, and Matt Luke recruiting. I can't prove this one way or another and everything, but I think Matt Luke had his hands on the Adonis Mitchell flip from Ole Miss to
I
Georgia,
guarantee you did. Yeah, I guarantee you did.
and he actually just really showed out during the Georgia spring
Mm-hmm.
game and might be a weapon in the future.
Absolutely. He could be the guy that makes Georgia fans not lament losing George Pickens so bad. I think he's going to ease the burn of that, and I think he's going to be a guy. He's really good with the ball in the air. I know when we talked before, he's still extremely raw with his route running, and that's going to have to he's going to have to continue to develop at that. But when that ball's in the air, there's not a whole lot of people right now in his class that are as good as playing the ball in the air. And I think he's good with his body control. You saw a catch that he had in the spring game where it was a low back shoulder throw, and he had to shift his body around. I've never really seen a freshman do that. A standard freshman. I mean, of course, there's those freshmen that can take over the world, but he's going to be a special player, I think, for Georgia in the future, and even in the immediate future.
Yeah, and if you want to go back and look at him, just out of curiosity, he's on our YouTube channel, believe it or not. Corey breaking
Exactly.
down what he can do, and
I didn't know I was going to be breaking him down for Georgia, but
yeah,
apparently I
back when he was
was.
an Ole Miss commit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, excellent player. Talk about the defensive side of the ball a little bit.
Okay, where do I start? Start on the defensive line. That's going to be the strength of this team. You have Jordan Davis. Devontae Wyatt played extremely well in the spring game. He showed out a little bit to add a little depth there. You're going to have Malik Herring, Trevon Walker. Actually, Malik Herring's gone, but you're going to have Trevon Walker. You're going to have Devontae Wyatt, Zion Logue. You're going to have a lot of guys that come in and do a lot of good things on the defensive line. Jalen Carter also is one guy that they're going to be able to move around. He's a more athletic, big guy. He's right now, I think, the number 2 nose, but I think he can play all 3 spots on that defensive line. So they're going to be able to do a lot of good stuff. Jordan Davis is going to take up 2 gaps, and he's athletic enough. Not many teams are going to be able to run on the interior of this defensive line, so that's going to free up the linebackers. The guy that I'm most excited about on this entire defense is Adam Anderson. He is the next Lorenzo Carter. He's the next type of person. Leonard Floyd type body that can do a lot of different things. He plays really well in space. He can get after the passer. He can be a force in the run game. He can play in space really well in the passing game, in the zone passing game. It's going to be fun to watch him play because they're going to ask him. He's going to blitz from depth. He's going to twist and blitz from the interior. He's going to get some sacks. He's going to be an absolute force out there on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay. In the kicking game, we have somebody. Have y'all replaced Hot Rod yet? What's going on there?
Yeah, we replaced him with Hot Pod.
Hot Pod?
Jake Podleski. Podleski, I think. I butcher his name every time. If you listen to the intro of the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast, you hear the radio call, the Scott Howard call of the game-winning kick against Cincinnati. He calls him Hot Pod instead of Hot Rod. So he's good. He's gonna be good. I think he made some really big field goals for Georgia last season, most notably the Peach Bowl, where they had to really fight to win and beat Cincinnati. But he made that kick at the end of the game. It was a pretty sizable kick too. I think it was a 52-yarder or something like that. He's got some range, so we'll be fine there. Jake Camarda comes back as the punter. He has the ability to flip the field and not give up so many returns. He has a lot of hang time on his punts, so I think we're going to be good in special teams.
All right. Now, if we look at the schedule laid out for Georgia, what are you expecting from this season? Just a blind May prediction. What are we looking at?
Clemson's going to be tough, obviously. I think it's going to be weird getting Auburn in October and Tennessee in November. That's going to be a weird shift. But I'm glad Auburn's coming earlier. Tennessee, it doesn't matter where they fall this year. If you listen to our Around the SEC segment that you and I just did, Tennessee's going to be rough. So it doesn't matter where they fall. This Auburn team, you don't want to catch them late. Catch them early while they're trying to still figure some stuff out with Bo Nix. But, the Florida game's always going to be tough. But otherwise, the schedule is easy. We avoid Alabama, we avoid LSU, we avoid A&M from the West. So the schedule lays out really well.
Who are your Western Division teams this year?
Well, Auburn's the permanent crossover, and do believe we get Arkansas again.
Really? Back-to-back years?
Yeah, we were supposed to get them.
Okay. Oh, so it actually came up, and that was the added game last year.
Yeah, and then it came up as the added game too. So yeah, we'll play them back to back.
Yeah, they have a chance to be much improved, and the game could look tougher than it needs to look, but not because of the reasons it looked so close last year.
Right, right. I mean, I think the reason it looked so close is we couldn't figure out the quarterback situation for the first part. You know, like Stetson Bennett was awful. Um, he was slightly less than awful. He had a decent second half, but Dewan Mathis was terrible to start the year off, and he's going to start the season in Philly at Temple. So it tells you where he kind of ended up. But yeah, I think it's going to be a little bit different. I think it's going to be, you know, you have that Clemson game to kind of really get you going, and then your non-conference games are pretty simple after that. So you know, you get but yeah, you get your Vanderbilt, South Carolinas who are down. Kentucky's going to be, I don't know what to expect out of Kentucky. We'll really get a deep dive preview of them on Around the SEC. I can't wait to kind of dive in and see what they're going to have. They're going to be, you know, second or third in the East. It's going to be them and Missouri. We know what Missouri's got. Connor Basilick is going to be really good. I'm kind of nervous about that game. The Florida game's always nerve-wracking because it's Florida. You never know with that matchup what they can do if they find a spark with Emory Jones, which they have the potential to if they get creative with it and they don't try to recreate what they did with Trask. I think if they go about it a different way, they might have a little bit more success than they had in years past.
Yeah. All right, Corey Burton from Believe in Georgia Dogs. He's also the offensive coordinator at Hillwood High School. We do a lot of pods here. He's always sticking around and coming around, and we have a lot of fun out here. So thank you very much, Corey, and of course, Hotty Toddy.
Go Dogs, and Hotty Toddy. I'll give you a Hotty Toddy. I'll throw one out. Nice.